Today, I have a massive video for you. Just mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. In this video, we'll speak with Luis. Luis started his company more than 10 years ago with only 3,000 euro in his pocket. And today, listen to this. Has more than 10 employees, have offices in Miami, in Spain, do more than 60 million in revenues, and ship from and to 32 countries. I mean, the story is incredible. What is going on here? And the best part, he did that without external financing. No equity partner, just pure grind. This is something. I'm sure you will love this conversation as much as I. All right, Luis. So, can we start with, can you explain one of your worst trade of your career?
Okay, I have many in the last 11 years, but if I had to pick up one, I would say one in Ghana. I have a trustable supplier there. This is kind of friend. We started shipping containers of used cooking. No, it wasn't used cooking oil. It was palm oil meal effluent. It's a waste that arises in the palm oil mills when they press the seed and they generate the crude palm oil. They need a lot of water and steam in order to heat up the seed and extract the oil. So they generate a lot of wastewater that goes to a kind of pond, like a swimming pool, where there is a 90% water, but there is a 5 to 10% remaining fatty matter, like oil. So they extract it from the surface of the pond. They extract this fatty matter, then they take it to a tank. They heat it up and they drain it. They take out the water, and when there is the acid oil there, I buy it and I sell it in Europe to transform it to biofuel. Okay, so as I had experience, I always try to start with a small quantity, a trial of 1 or 2 containers to check how logistic goes, how the quality goes. We do it and it perfectly works. The containers go out from inland Ghana to the port of Tema. They transit from the truck to an ISO tank that was waiting there in the depot in the port of Tema. They ship to Rotterdam. They arrive to Rotterdam, import dispatch. Everything goes to the customer and quality analysis is okay, unloaded, perfect. So we shake hands. Let's go to the second contract. Instead of 2 containers, we do 4 containers. Same operation, everything works well. Okay, we go from 4 containers till 8 containers. It goes well. Then we go from 8 containers till 12 containers, and shit happens. Like when the containers arrive to Rotterdam, my customer calls me and they say, "Luis, we have a problem. Here there is just 20% fatty matter and the rest is moisture and impurities. We cannot accept these containers. The quality is terrible." So I said, "What the fuck? Okay, let's." I try to analyze it externally. I trust my customers. He's a customer that I've been working with him for a long time, so I knew he wasn't cheating on me. I called the supplier, "Hey, what the happened?" And I said, "Luis, I cannot understand because the operation has been the same. Let me check with the palm oil mill what might happen." Okay. The problem was that at this time I had a lot of containers in the sea because the shipping line delayed the departure from Tema, so I had like 20 containers on the sea at the same time. So the first one
from the same,
yeah, from the same supplier and from the same product and so on. So the second batch arrived to destination, and my customer, it was in Spain at another customer, and they called me, "Luis, we have a problem. This product is not what I expected." So I said, I grabbed my car because at that point I was in Spain, and I went to the factory to check myself what was happening. The product stinks, smelled like completely. And then I found out that what they were doing is like my supplier was cheated in origin. The containers were filled with, or the trucks were filled in the palm oil in the palm oil mill in Ghana with the correct product. But on their way from the palm oil mill till the port of Tema, somebody stopped the cars. They transload the good product to some ISO tanks, and they filled the truck with cows, like in the middle of the jungle in Ghana, going from the palm oil mill till the port of destination of export. They filled it with a kind of dirty water from a farm. Okay, so I bought like, I don't know, like 12 containers of cows instead of the real product. So I think that's a good story, and it could be my worst deal in the last years.
Man, that's tough. And how much is like I guess you pay everything at loading.
Yeah, I had to pay in advance. Yeah,
Yeah, of course, of
so
course, of course.
my
I mean, of
loss,
course.
my loss in this operation was around 70,000 euro.
Yeah. That's tough.
In this trade. But of course, my supplier helped me a lot, and I knew he was cheated. He didn't in purpose. He was cheated by his supplier, and we found out. But you know, when the money is already paid, to get back this money in
Nothing to
different
do.
countries is like, you know, it's risk that is it arises with the trading business. You do a lot of operations good. Sometimes it's very difficult to
Sometimes you of course.
avoid one or two mistakes.
Yeah, that's tough. But yeah, and people don't understand. Like, it's not. I mean, you cannot when you buy from a supplier. Like, you cannot do. Oh yeah, I'll pay you remaining 30% after testing at arrival by. It doesn't work like that.
I wish, but no, this world doesn't work like this. It's like it's impossible. No. It's like we all get really small margins. It's a world of big volume with a small margin. Zero risk is impossible. I always say that I do a really safe trading because I don't speculate. I always sell before buying, so I know what my margin is gonna be if things go okay. 99% of the cases, with my experience and the way I work, the trading works fine. But it's impossible not to mess sometimes, because sometimes you need to do prepayments. Like I try to pay against loading docks, okay? Not prepay without nothing. Normally I load the container, and on the same day I pay them, then I'm being paid by my customers later. But I try to at least have the ISO tank filled or the container filled in order to get the assurance that I'm buying something, okay? But
at least something.
Sometimes it's not possible. Sometimes it's like I understand it's a really weak economy. Especially I'm dealing with waste, and the waste collectors are not rich, and this is a business that they need to pay.
Yeah, so that's a very good point. So, can you explain? So, the product that you trade the most is used cooking oil. Exactly. So basically, if I understand it right, it's like if you go to McDonald's, they use oil to fry the fries, and then this is that you buy.
Yes. The biofuels industry, to make it simple for everybody to understand it, is like the used cooking oil, the one that you use at home, or the one that they use in the restaurants, in the hotels, in the cafeterias, in the jails, in the college, in the universities, wherever, okay, or in the factories to fry potatoes, for example. This used vegetable oil, with a transformation, a chemical transformation, you can transform it either into biodiesel, or to renewable diesel, or to sustainable aviation fuel. Okay, so this waste is valid to be transformed into a biofuel that then powers the diesel engines of cars, trucks, planes, and vessels. Okay, any diesel engine, you would be able to power it with biofuel made from waste, this kind of waste. Okay, so the used cooking oil is generated locally everywhere in the world, because everybody eats fries, everybody eats chicken, everybody eats fish fried. So it's generated locally, and there are used cooking oil collectors that collect it locally with lorry trucks, with vans. They go restaurant by restaurant to pick up the oil. Then they take it to a warehouse. In the warehouse, they filter it to take out the impurities, and then they drain it. They take out the water. And once it has 2% maximum moisture and impurities, that's when I enter. I buy a minimum quantity of 23,000 kilos. That is the amount that fits in a 20-feet container. And then I load it either in an ISO tank or either in a flexi bag. A flexi bag is a plastic bag that you put on the bottom of a 20-feet container, and then you fill it up with the oil, and you close the valve, you close the doors of the container, and this container goes somewhere else to be transformed.
So now my first question is those guys that do the collection. So I understand that you are not a collector, but you buy from them. So they pay to get the oil,
Yes.
or
Yes.
ah,
Yes. They pay. They have to pay mostly cash to the restaurants.
yeah, they pay cash if they get the oil.
Otherwise, they will not give. They will not receive the oil, because normally, like the environmental measures, they say, okay, you gotta dispose properly the oil. Okay, you cannot throw it to the sewage. So you gotta give it to a proper collector. But when if there is only one collector, the collector can say, okay, restaurant, you have to pay me to pick you up the oil. But that's
Yes,
not the
because this
real
is
thing. There are
this
plenty
is
of
what I
collectors.
thought. This is what I thought.
Yeah, but
Ah.
there are plenty of collectors. So if I go to a restaurant and I say, hey, you gotta pay me $5 to pick you up the oil, the restaurant will say, okay, here you have $5. But then my competitor goes and they say, hey, I pick you up the oil for free. And then the restaurant says, okay, I give it to you for free. And then I go back and I say, I'm gonna give you $5 per the 50-liter barrel. And the restaurant say, okay, $5. Then my competitor go and say, I give you $10. So there is nowadays the reality is that there are some exceptions, but normally they have to pay oil. They have to pay for the oil, especially for the big oil producers. If you go to McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Burger King, they ask for a lot of money, like maybe 70 cents for a liter of used cooking oil, for example, 70 cents of euro
So
or
they know the
dollar.
market, basically. They also know the market.
They know it very well, and they know that they have. So yeah, the used cooking oil collector, that's why they are weak economies, and they need to ask me for a prepayment. Why? Because they have to invest in lorry trucks, in a warehouse, in the employees. They have to pay the salaries. They have to pay the gas to fuel the vans that go to collect to the restaurants, and then they have to pay to the restaurants. So once they have 23,000 kilos or 25,000 kilos, that is the minimum quantity that I buy, they have already paid a lot of money on their daily basis. So when I buy them and I fill my ISO tank with their UCO, they need my money to start purchasing the following truck that they are going to collect in the streets and they are going to sell me. That's why it's a cash intense business.
I mean, what you described works for a lot of business like this. This is exactly so. The guy that does the distribution is financed by the seller, or the guy that does the collection is financed by the buyer. Most of the commodities are, I mean, the supply chain looks like that because this is, as you said, it costs a lot and to have like a team of guys on our bike to go around in the city, get, I mean, in this door. Oh man, okay, so it's quite interesting, and then I guess you can buy it everywhere in the world because
Yes.
everywhere people fry stuff.
Yes, there are places that is easier because the collection is really well organized. They have a really good logistics. There is a lot of people living there, and they generate more. There are places where it's more difficult to collect it. They generate less, but all in all, used cooking oil is generated worldwide, and it's going to be generated in the long term because it's not something that will disappear. So I'm in a business that, like, you gotta work. You're not gonna get rich in 1 month because this is a small margin.
That's more about
but it's a
business,
sustainable business in terms of that. This industry will last like for a lot of years because there will always be this waste, and the waste has to be converted. You cannot dispose it improperly.
And okay, so so you buy one container of used cooking oil, then you ship it to a refinery that is going to convert it to make fuel again. So, and right now there's a lot of, I mean, we can hear biofuel, everything, biodiesel, bio jet fuel, bio everything. So I think there is more and more demand also on the demand side for that type of product. Or in 10 years,
Yes.
have you seen the demand increasing? Or like what was the price 10 years ago and what is the price today? Has it doubled or not really?
No, market is changing a lot. I first started in 2008 because I started working in a biodiesel factory. Then I got the knowledge, and in 2013 I created my own company. And the industry has developed a lot. Like first, it was only going for biodiesel, and the biodiesel factories were small quantities. They were not big. Then they got bigger biodiesel factories, and then a new product, a new biofuel came up. Neste invented it. They call it HVO, or renewable diesel. It's like they did it. They started doing it in the oil refineries. They started doing it through co-processing. So they were blending 20% vegetable oil with 80% crude oil, and they put it all together in the same refining process.
At
And
the
they got
refining process. Okay,
exactly,
okay.
exactly, and they got a new biofuel that is called HBO, or renewable diesel. And then they did 100% vegetable oil to renewable diesel, and now the last one coming is a super quality premium product that is called SAF, Sustainable Aviation Fuel, that goes to only to the planes. And in terms of pricing, listen, this is a really volatile market. I've seen the UCO, the lowest, on $500 metric ton, and the highest on $2,000 metric ton. And in between, each month the price changes. It's like I do monthly contracts because I cannot do long-term contracts because the suppliers will not commit. Like I know very well,
Of course,
and
of course.
if for example, if the price is high right now and on the following month the prices go down, there's no problem. The suppliers will commit. But if the price is here right now, and then the
they will
market
not
goes
deliver.
up, the suppliers will not commit, and they will not serve me. Otherwise, I pay the premium price. So I decided, okay, no long-term business. Like I do spot contracts on a monthly basis on the price that has agreed, and that's the way I work normally.
Okay. So basically, it's like one container is still 25,000 euro. So roughly a thousand, if
Yeah,
we say
more
it
or
like
less.
this,
Yeah,
average.
yeah.
Okay. And so yeah, it's also capital intensive for the trader as always, because I mean you prepare, and then I guess I don't know what but your buyer actually a huge entity. I mean a refinery, they have money. Usually it's not like you are selling to someone that you need to finance for 90 days before you getting paid. So I guess you have good payment term on the sell side, right? Or no?
Yes, like normally the agreement with my customers is normally they don't prepay. They pay just like 1 week after unloading normally. It's not 90 days also, but normally they want to have the product in their factories and then they pay me. Some others they pay me, for example, 80% against the shipping documents, for example. So I pay when I load in the warehouse of my supplier in origin. I ship it in the vessel, and once I have the bill of lading, then they pay me because
they pay 80% CAD and 20% against the final testing or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Normally that's an agreement that is quite traditional. And yeah, they are normally before they used to be biodiesel factories. Now there are major oil companies that are transforming it into renewable diesel. So it's huge companies. Normally the risk of unpayment is not high because there are like big companies on the customer side. The only problem can be that if you prepay to the suppliers and they don't commit. But this is a matter of expertise and to handle it. And in terms of capital intensity, yes, it's a lot of it. For example, me to move 64 million euro turnover, I need 18 million credit loans because I need prepayments. And I need to pay, for example, the product that I buy in my Spanish company, the product that I buy in Spain, I have to sell it. I have to buy it with a 20% VAT, value-added tax. That then I sell to my customers without VAT because if I sell in Spain, there is a tax exemption because it's a factory. Or if I sell it in Portugal or in France, it's a intra-Europe selling, so I cannot ask it. So I have to pay it to my suppliers today, and then the Spanish Treasury will give it back to me in 6 months. So I need to
6 months.
it.
This is. We are still waiting for. I have the same problem in Romania. We're still waiting for 50,000 euro of VAT that the Romanian, Romanian government owe us. I don't know how many years to get it back, and this is insane. But it's a lot of money, man. So especially in the south country of Europe, I mean, they don't get. I mean, it takes so much time to get the VAT back. You do the same, like in Sweden, in Denmark, and so on. You don't have this problem. You know that if you import, for instance, in Denmark, you have like 90 days to pay the VAT for the import. So this means that you can sell the product, get the VAT from your client, and then pay the import VAT. So this is a country that works.
Yes, exactly. So Spain, unfortunately, is not like this.
Yeah, and 20 is a lot. Especially when you work on such a small margin, 20% is a lot. So okay. So this is okay. So that's going to be one of my questions. So you worked in this biodiesel factory. So this is how you understood that this market exists, and you were like, okay, there is something here. And then can you talk to us about the transition from being an employee to having your own trading company? How did you do that?
Yeah, okay, yes. I started in 2008. I started in as an international business consultant. A small biodiesel factory from the north of Spain hired me in order to help them find jatropha oil, that was a toxic seed that wasn't valid for feeding, and it was ideal for biodiesel because as it was a kind of oil that wasn't supposed to go to the feed chain, so it was only for energy and it was perfect. The reality is that I lost a lot of time because it wasn't competitive to grow it up because the seed didn't mature at the same time and it was really expensive for biodiesel. Okay, so I lost time, but it was my first entrance on this business. Then they put me as a plant manager in the factory, and I'm not an engineering, so I didn't have any idea, but it was really good. It was like a paid MBA for me because I learned how the transesterification process works to transform the oil, the vegetable oil, into biodiesel. I learned a lot on logistics. I learned what problems arise if the feedstock doesn't come on specs, what problems arise on the production, if there is a delay on receiving the raw material, the delay that you have to assume to deliver the product. Well, I got to be an expert on the industry. And then also I found out that it was a seller's market because I was a purchase manager in a biodiesel factory, and I had to compete with other factories to get the raw material. And I saw how the sellers were gambling with the product. They were doing tenders, and I say, oh, listen, like I have the asset, but I don't have any control. It's like I have the asset, the technology, but I cannot secure the feedstock. So the former company where I was working for was struggling economically. They weren't paying, or they weren't committing on the contract that I was purchasing. And I got to a point. I was the trader. I was like
Plant manager, you were.
like I wasn't. I didn't have the money. It wasn't my money. I was closing contracts, purchasing material with the form of payment on arrival, and my former boss was delaying payments. The suppliers were calling me, and I said, well, at that point, I'm confronted with my boss. He fired me, and I had two options: either try to find another job in another biodiesel factory or start my own project. And I had nothing to lose. I had no money. I had $3,000 in my pocket, and I started as a broker. I registered a company, UCO Trading, used cooking oil trading, UCO. I wasn't really brilliant on the name, and I just had a phone and a computer, and I started working in a small desk at that time. And me myself alone, I was put it in contact suppliers of used cooking oil with biodiesel producers in Spain and Portugal. I was issuing a small commission fee to the supplier and the customer. I was alone for 1 year or 1 year and a half. Then I hired my first employee to get in charge of all the logistics, administration, sustainability, and I had more time to focus on the commercial side and grow the company. And then after 2 years, the banks started to trust me, and they started to give me credit loans. So I got my first credit loan of 40,000 euro, and with this, I moved from broker till trader. I
So
was
that was
purchasing the raw material and selling it, and that's when I moved to trading. And since then, like developing the size of the contract of the company.
so man, as a broker on very small volume I mean that must be hell. So but did you okay? Do you think it's still possible to be a broker in this market today, or now the market is it's not?
It's possible because I see
Yeah,
brokers
yeah.
that they do it, but I
But
always
brokers,
have
it's brokers. But are they making money? I'm not sure, man.
to be a broker and to create added value and to get the respect of the suppliers and the customers not to betray you. I think you are in a position that is very difficult to create added value as a broker.
No,
I always
this is a
prefer
problem.
to do trading, not only because of the margin, that is, of course, you have bigger margins as a trader than as a broker, But because I have the control of the operation, on one side you have more risk, but on the other side, if you want to create added value, like I tell my customers, hey, listen, we sign a contract and you don't care. Believe me, I take care of everything, and you will just receive the goods on your factory. If the goods are not good, you reject them. Don't worry, I will assume it. So I create added value, and to the supplier is the same. Hey, collecting in a region is very difficult. You have competition in the street. They steal your drums in the restaurants. You have to handle a lot of problems on your daily basis. Just focus on collecting, on get the oil with maximum 2% moisture and impurities, and forget about logistics, forget about financing, forget about sustainability, forget about administration. I'm here to help you. I will handle everything. So that's why, as a trader, you create much more added value than as a broker.
Of course. This is what I keep saying. Like, if you want a sustainable trade flow, you need to add value on both sides. And added value is basically de-risking the supply chain. So for your buyer, you de-risk the supply chain if they go through you than if they go to someone else. But if you can't do that, like as a broker, I think now the broker role is basically over, because it's too easy. I mean, everyone has WhatsApp. I mean, you can go to on the other side of the world for less than 1,000 euro. So I'm not really sure it makes really sense today. So, but yeah, by de-risking the transaction for both parties, you can make you can make margin. And but it's so now you said to me that you have 10 employees full time, and you have one office in Spain and one office in Miami, and Miami is where you are. So you went to the US to expand the business, I guess, because this is where you think that there's more buyer or more collection possible.
Yes, as I told you, I started working in 2008 in the industry, and I've always sold in Europe. It's not only Spain. I sell in Spain, in Portugal, in Netherlands, in Germany, in France. So I'm really an expert on the European
you know all the buyers, I guess.
biofuels industry. Yeah, I have a name and I know everybody. But in the US, there has never been trade between Europe and US, okay? Because US has their biofuels industry, but they didn't need it to import because they have a lot of waste internally, nationally, so they needed to import. And Europe has always import waste. So I was focused on importing from different parts of the world to Europe. But in 2022, the company had already grown up. I had 10 employees, and they are really well formed. I can delegate more. I have a chief commercial officer that is helping me develop new suppliers. And I say, okay, why not? I spoke with my wife and I say, why not? We move with the family to Miami. Our daughters learn English, and we try to expand the company because there is a lot of investments in the US market, especially on the sustainable aviation fuel. They are making huge investments on turning major oil refineries into renewable diesel or sustainable aviation fuel, and they are going to need to import waste because with the product that is already in US is not enough. They need to import. So I say, okay, let's go. And for me, it's the same to move a container from anywhere in Latin America to Rotterdam than to move it to New Orleans or to Houston. So I come here to the US, I speak with the biofuel producers, I see what they need, and I can move flows that were going to Rotterdam, for example, to New Orleans. So that's why I'm here. I'm opening market here, and I'm finding the difficulties of the market is there are some differences between one and each other, but I think we have to be here because the US economy is really powerful, and I think they are gonna need a lot of waste. So that's why I'm here right now.
And in your business, so what the most difficult side for you? Is it to fight to get product, or is it to fight to get customer? I mean, trading both is difficult, but what do you think is the most challenging?
No, it's much like I cannot sell what I don't have. So for me, always my resources and my energy is to find new suppliers, new wastes, new products. Because if I can find new volumes, I would be able to sell them.
So now you have the finance, you have everything. So the demand is not the problem. It's really getting the collection,
exactly.
Getting the supply.
Exactly. The demand is always bigger than the offer. So if you have the product, you have the power.
Okay. Okay. So and then so I've seen most of the big traders, they all have a biofuel desk, and I didn't really know what it was. So I guess I knew UCO and so. But then when the guy said, "Oh, he's a biofuel trader," so that's mean that he buy UCO, that he buy all type of agri, or what does he do exactly?
Well, listen, they all have like Gambor, Trafigura, Mercuria, Glencore. They all have a biofuel trading desk, okay? But normally they trade biofuel already produced, not the raw
Okay,
material,
okay.
not the feedstock, okay?
Yeah,
They,
okay. Now it makes more sense for me. Okay,
they buy
okay.
the volumes that my customers produce, okay?
Yeah.
Then there's a second trading desk that most of them have that is feedstock, but it's related to fresh vegetable oil. For example, Cargill, Pungy, Louis Dreyfus, ADM. Those are huge farm companies that they grow up seeds. They grow grapeseed, they grow sunflower, they grow soybean, or for example,
Palm oil. Yeah.
Musim or Campa, they grow palm oil in Indonesia and in Malaysia. So they grow the seed, they have the crushing mills, they have the refineries, and they have the short tanks, they have the big vessel tankers, and they move massive amounts of fresh oil to be transformed into first generation biofuel. Okay, because I'm in the world of the smaller volumes, let's say, because waste is generated in a small quantity than the fresh oil. So I cannot compete against these major oil traders. I always focus on the waste-based feedstock to do the trading.
Yeah. Okay. So this is okay. So they are in different part of the supply chain, because when you said in the introduction, I said that you basically do 60,000 metric ton per year, and I'm like, yeah, dude, it's one vessel. So I was
Exactly.
like, I couldn't like imagine that those big guys would do the same. It make no sense. So
Sometimes I
so
sit
okay.
with people from big trading companies, and when I say that I move 60,000 metric tons, they laugh. It's like for them it's nothing. It's a big vessel.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's
But
one vessel.
when I tell them that my suppliers collect the oil on a 50-liter barrel basis in a restaurant, then 50 liter to 50 liter to make 20,000 kilos is a lot, or 20,000 liters, and there are different worlds. Like it's not the same that you get to a refinery and you buy a 60,000 metric tons of
Yeah, sure,
crude
sure.
oil. It's like it's not the same.
Okay. So okay. So this is, and you think that basically you are extremely optimistic about the growth of this business. The waste, there is going to be more and more waste needed to, and the demand is always going to be there. Especially that we are moving from fossil fuel to biofuel to I don't know what synthetic fuel. So for you, it's very positive.
Yes. The market. I think the market is in the long term because it's circular economy, waste to energy, and everybody is more concerned right now, and the environmental policies of the different countries are pushing it. So I think this market is gonna go in the long term. Of course, there is a lot of volatility. The prices are gonna go up and down, but demand and offer, I think, is granted for the following years.
And man, so it's pretty much an incredible growth risk, because I know a lot of traders that are basically your size, or I mean a little bit bigger, or in the same range. People that started from scratch and that now have a sizable company, which is what you have. But you started with nothing, man. And usually they started with a little bit. You started really with nothing. So I'm
Nothing.
very, very impressed. So man, this is very impressive. I'm telling you, man. So and getting this first credit line, so then you can, okay, now I can buy something, and then bit by bit, I guess now you have most of you. Okay, second question that I wanted to ask about credit line. So you have the banks that helps you a little bit, but
No, a lot, a
for
lot.
yes, so
My
you still
financing
have
is 100% banking. It's like
you have no alternative financier,
no, I don't have
100% bank.
shareholders. My company is 100% mine, and I don't have any alternative financing. I rely on the banks completely, and I have the problem is that I have personal loans on these guarantees. Like for the banks to give me,
Uh,
I don't have 18. I have credit loans for a value of 80 million euro that I need to trade to pay
yeah,
taxes, to pay prepayments, all the things that I told you.
but it's on you.
Exactly. So the banks
Yeah,
say,
yes.
Luis, we trust you because you have a experience, you have a background of 11 years working in the industry, the numbers are working properly, so we borrow you money, but we need your personal warranty because I don't have 18 million in my banks. So, or my personal accounts. So they say, Luis, we need you to grant. So I'm granting personally, me and my wife, almost 50% of this 18 million credit loan. So it's a risk.
On an insurance.
Yeah, like, but it is what it is. If I want to take out these personal loans, they will not give me so much money, and I would not grow. So
you've got to do what you've got to do.
Yeah, I know it's risky. If in an ideal world, I would say no to these personal loans, but I don't have option, and I understand also the banks asking for it. So I try to do a safe risk, a safe trading in order not to risk a lot.
No, but it makes a lot of sense. And what is okay? This is so you don't have problem with finance basically. For you, this is
well,
not
no. I would need, like, for example, right now I'm in a process of M&A, opening shares of my company. I'm looking for a partner that has deeper pockets than me, and they can help me on getting more financing, because now I'm in a position that I can still grow by doing containers, but if I have a trustable partner, I can move to do big volumes by vessels. I can rent 4 or 5 short tanks in different parts of the world. Let's say, for example.
But have you thought about doing collateral finance? Go to find a fund, and because I mean the size that you do, they would be interested to do. But of course, it's going to be expensive money. So you are going to pay, I guess, more than 12-14% yield. So I don't know if the trade makes sense.
Exactly. With the margins that I have, to have this cost of financing is too big, because, for example, now I'm financing in Europe on, let's say, 4 to 5% interest rate. If I get
good man, yeah, it's good, man.
If I want to finance in US, I would have it 8-9% if I go to banks. But if I go to external investments, is what you say, 10, 12, 15, 18, and my margins.
And now it's more 12.
My margins will not because the margins are not gonna get bigger, because this is what it is. I can grow up in volume, and then with the smaller structure that I have, I'm competitive, and if I have more turnover, then the benefits will grow up. But the margins are not gonna. The unit margin per metric ton is not gonna get higher, because it would not be realistic. I would be out of the market. So yeah, what I need is a powerful partner on my side that will allow me to grow, and then let's say, okay, let's do a
so you basically so I understand. So if 12% is not possible for you, and this is what those funds are going to ask for the best case, so this is not okay. So, and also this is true that your trade are not really that risky, honestly, compared to other traders that I've seen. So because you have extremely good buyers, so that's helped a lot to de-risk basically your overall operation. But the thing is, yes, so you need to basically have an equity partner that can just say, look, put, I don't know, a couple million, I don't know what, and then also now we can self-finance short tank, so then you can get bigger volume, but you don't lose the you basically still have the same margin because you are not paying up for the financing.
Yeah, but normally when I approach venture capital or private equity, they are not interested in a business like mine because the margins are small, and the financial need is really high. Normally, what it makes sense is a vertical integration. Somebody that is a biofuel producer or a huge trader that needs my expertise, needs the volume that I have, but they say, Luis, I'm not buying you for the 60,000 metric tons that you are doing right now. What do you need to do 500,000 metric tons per year? And I say, well, for doing this, I need this working capital, I need this logistics, these short tanks in different parts of the world, and I will consolidate volumes, and then I ship it by big vessels directly to the refinery. So normally, my M&A process is going to end up with a strategic partner, on a vertical integration, probably.
Yeah, this is exactly the type of partner that are in different business that we are in conversation, because the one that we have the origination, they have the rest, or we have the distribution, they have the rest. They are willing to finance us and just to help us, because for them it's another outlet and they need that outlet, so it makes sense for them. But for exactly VC, private equity, and so on, they're like, what the is that? No, man, no, I'm not. What it doesn't work. But okay, man, cool. So just to finish, so what is your next big milestone for your business that you're trying to hit?
Well, it's mainly related with this. I'm going to do a master in Harvard in May, 3 weeks, Owner's Business Management. I hope I will get some ideas on the strategy, because I'm defining, like, there are two options. Either I sell shares of the company and I grow up, but as I told you, by consolidating volumes in different parts of the world with a short tank, let's say in Malaysia, in Dubai, in Europe and the US. I consolidate volumes and I ship it to different customers by big vessels. For this, I need financing that I cannot get alone, so I need to open shares to get a powerful partner on my side that will grant the financing, and I will grow up the volumes. And another option is if I remain alone and I don't sell shares, let's see, to diversify the portfolio of raw materials and continue a natural growth, the one that I'm doing, but I will not grow as fast as with a powerful partner.
Okay, cool, man. So, Luis, thanks a lot for your time, and thanks a lot to be quite open about this small world of UCO, because I think I'm really interested in all those like recycled raw materials and so on. I think this is very interesting for small and medium traders, because this is where there is a lot of know-how. The market is not organized yet as for the big commodities, and there is still margin for smaller traders. So that's great, man. Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you so much, Damien.
So,
It's a
and
pleasure
if someone wants to reach out to you or whatever, where should I send them?
Yeah, my company is UCO Trading. It's really easy to remind it because it's used cooking oil, UCO. UCO Trading. My email is Luis, R as in Rome, P as in Paris, @ucotrading.com. You can find me, and if you have anything to offer, if I can help here in Spain, in Miami, wherever, I'm open to cooperate with everybody, and it's a pleasure to speak with you. And I love your podcast and your trading business.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.